So I'm just going to quickly talk about fat today and kind of what it is, why we need it, and some good sources, and also how much you need day to day, and also how to split up your portions. So really kind of fat is really known as the health macronutrient. It's used for energy, protection, production of hormones. It's really important we get enough in our diet. And again, a long time ago, we used to think, oh, kind of high fat diets are bad. Whereas now it seems a lot of people are kind of putting all the fats into the equation, all the coconut oil, butter, avocados, and I think it's okay. But as ever, we need to look at a bit more of a balanced approach, or have more of a balanced approach. So, what are some kind of good sources? I don't know why I've put fish oil tablets there, but when we're looking at fats, you've probably heard of good and bad, and really, what you've probably heard before is bad fats tend to be saturated fats, so things like animal products, butter, fat in the red meats, and things like that. Whereas your good fats are your unsaturated fats, or polyunsaturated and monounsaturated. So think olive oil, oily fish, avocados, nuts, seeds. And I don't really want to try and think of these as necessarily good and bad, because providing you stay within your allotted figures for the day, it's not really going to have much of a problem. So especially if you stay within your calories, stay within your fats, where you get these kind of sources from, it's not going to have a huge impact, especially on things like body composition. However, when you start looking at a lot of the literature and the research, it does kind of show that those who eat more omega-3, so things like your olive oil, okay, oily fish, avocados, seeds, it does tend to help with, say, blood and health markers. So I think it's just prudent, or it's more sensible to opt for sources more on this end of the spectrum. So think of these types of food rather than things like fatty cuts of meat, and also things like butter and dairy as well. So it doesn't matter too much, but it just makes sense to opt for these types of foods. So how much do you actually need? And remember, in block one, think calories first, then you think your protein, and then we can start, say, considering your quantities of fat. And in your breakdown, you probably got something like 1 gram per kilo of body weight. However, for those who are going to be exercising a fair bit, you'll probably bring the fat down slightly, so it might be a little bit less. So in my case, me being 90 kilos, I'm probably talking around that 90 grams of fat mark. If I was looking to lose a bit of weight, I'll probably go to around 80 grams. You've got to be a little bit careful of fat, because it is fairly calorific. So there's 9 calories per gram of fat compared to the 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates. So it's quite easy to overconsume. But then on the flip side of that, it does keep you full. It's fairly satiating. So sometimes you have fatty cuts of meat. If you have something like cheese, it can actually keep you full. So my advice with this is simply to track, okay? If you don't have to do it forever, but if you track all the types of fats that you're currently eating, you'll quickly see about how it fits into your calories, and also make note on how you feel. In terms of how you should split it up throughout the day, to be honest, it doesn't really matter that much. I just think your overall fat for the day is the most important thing. But similar to what we do with protein, is that the easy way to do this is simply take the total and divide it by the number of meals you have. So if I have 90 grams to play with, if I divide that by 5, we're talking about 22 grams per portion. But if you're like me, you'll probably end up having, say, more at breakfast, lunch, and your evening meal, which gives you slightly smaller portions for your snack. So it might be, say, 30 grams for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, whereas it might be, say, 15 grams for my snack, sorry. In terms of actual kind of portion sizes, what we can use, like the image kind of shows, we can actually use our thumb. So for ladies, 1 thumb is around about 15 grams of fat. So I think nuts, a bit of cheese as well. Whereas guys, if you have 2 thumbs, that equates to about 30 grams. If you don't really want to track, use the thumbs for your fat portion. The one thing I will mention about fat is, I will speak about it in nutrient timing, another video, but try not to have too much fat before you exercise, purely because it can be quite satiating and keeps you full, and it can sit a bit heavy on the stomach. So if you have a huge fat heavy meal before you train, it can cause an upset stomach, and it can really kind of hinder your performance. So just be a little bit mindful here not to have so much before you exercise. So that's fat. Hopefully you've got a bit of an understanding now of what it is and where you can get it from. As ever, if you've got any questions, just let me know or ask in the group.